I've been told that I'm a skeptical person, but I find that hard to believe. If I was Arnold Schwarzenegger, I would open an abortion clinic just so that I could call it Hasta La Vista, baby. There would be less drownings if people could scream underwater. One thing that the Trump administration has taught me is that people will believe anything. You just have to speak their language first. For instance, some people will never fight against climate change until they hear something like, you know who wants climate change? Black people. And then they'll be like, over my dead body. In fact, I'm going to get my PhD in climate science to make sure that that never happens. We just need to leverage bigotry into something that creates positive change. And then once those problems are nearly all solved, there'll be very few reasons left to resort to bigotry. Hey, just solved it. I've been sleeping with a CPAP machine for about a decade now, so I recently asked it to marry me. But I almost didn't ask because CPAP machines are loud. Thankfully, I can drown it out by playing brown noise on repeat, which is like a more soothing version of white noise. But since that track is only a few minutes long, it gets played hundreds of times every night, which has convinced my algorithm that brown noise is my favorite song of all time. So when I recently had some friends over and asked my HomePod to play us some music, it started out with some great songs. But then within 15 minutes, that real music turned into shh. My friends took this as a super passive-aggressive hint that they should leave. And while I am a Minnesotan, that level of passive aggression is beyond even my abilities. Although if people think that they should leave, then I'm not about to stop them. Because that just gives my CPAP and I more time to plan our wedding. I made some burgers the other day, and one person said, "Wow, this burger is great. That's why I love you." Which is a bizarre thing to say, since it's essentially a confession that their love is conditional. But that's good to know, because if I ever want to remove them from my life, I now know that it's as easy as no longer making them burgers. Or even just making them burgers that suck. Thankfully, my close friends have never used that expression with me, which is ironically why I love them. Let's see here. The discrepancy in outrage over the Charlie Kirk assassination versus school shootings is pretty wild. Especially since Charlie's assassination was a school shooting. Like, did he not have any suspicion that spending that much time in schools wouldn't end well? Even if he did, Charlie could only successfully debate students who are more or less children, so I suppose he had nowhere else to go. One theory for this discrepancy in outrage is that people got to see Charlie bleed out in HD, whereas most school shootings are more out of sight, out of mind. I always thought that the expression, "pics or it didn't happen," was just a playful jest. But apparently that's how most adults view school shootings. So considering that lack of imagination, I propose that we install HD cameras throughout every school in America. That way, whenever there's a school shooting, the grisly carnage can be uploaded to social media like it was for Charlie Kirk. And if anybody has a problem with their feeds being inundated with the violent deaths of children, then I offer you my thoughts and prayers. I've never been an ass man, and I think I know why. Because when I was coming of age, the internet speeds were rather poor, which meant that pornography would slowly load from the top down, and I would never last long enough to see anything below the waist. Some would say that's premature ejaculation, although I was by no means mature yet. So how else was I supposed to ejaculate? Thanks, I'm Nate.